Thank you for coming to the 2011 deadCENTER Film Festival. This is our first time doing a short screenplay read. In the past, we've selected one script that's a feature script, and we decided to mix it up and try to get some more energy involved in the process. And so this is Beth Brooks. Beth coming out.
Hi.
And Beth has been in charge of our script. And so there's two components to how this works. Ryan, come up here, please. This is Ryan Johnston, and he was in charge of all the judging. So how it worked was we had a record number of scripts submitted to us. We then turned all those over to Ryan. He gave them to a group of people who work actively in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles who read scripts for a living. They narrowed it down to the top three, and those are the three we're presenting to you today. And so once we narrowed down to the top three from our expert panel, then Beth took it over. She brought on three different groups of theater comedy troupes to perform the three scripts for you. And so she's going to tell you, so she'll introduce them, but basically how it's going to work is we'll have three groups present a script each, and then when they're done, you either have ballots or we'll hand you ballots, and you'll just tear which one you like, and then tonight at 9 we'll announce the winner. And the winner of the contest, both the theater group gets $250, and the winning writer gets $250 as well. So, tons of money at stake, so do not. They're students, so they are going to need that money. Or theater groups will really need it.
Mafia by Dean Watts. Fade in. Interior 1998 C280 Mercedes sedan. First day of school. Gregory Allen, a handsome 40-something father, waits patiently behind numerous cars in a private school drop-off line. Alexandra, a beautiful 5-year-old girl, sits anxiously in the back seat.
I'm so excited, Dad.
Gregory looks in the rearview mirror and smiles.
We're gonna have a great year.
Exterior, private school entrance minutes later. Alexandra opens her door and jumps out.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, sweetie.
Gregory's car moves forward several feet, then stops. Gregory rolls down his window, yelling out the window.
Alexandra, wait!
Gregory leaps out and runs after Alexandra. Alexandra looks back at Gregory. She turns and runs back to him. He gives her a pink backpack and a big hug.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy.
Alexandra skips into school as Gregory runs back to his car. He hurriedly jumps in. Interior, Gregory's car continuous. Gregory puts it in gear and starts to pull away. There's a rap on his window. He looks up to see Julia Clayton, an intense-looking soccer mom, staring at him. Gregory rolls his window down.
Hi, can I...
There's a strict rule against parking in the drop-off line.
Sorry, it's my first day and
Drive up there.
Julia points to a parking space at the far end of the parking lot.
I need a word.
Sure.
Exterior, a vacant section of the parking lot moments later. Furious, Julia glares at Gregory as he gets out of his car.
You parked in the drop-off line.
Oh, my daughter just forgot about
You parked in the drop-off line.
Julia scowls at Gregory.
Your incompetence has made me late for my morning coffee.
Then let me buy you a cup at Starbucks. There's one right across the...
Enraged, Julia stabs her finger in Gregory's chest.
Never say Starbucks in front of me again.
Why?
Kathy's Coffee House sponsors our school. Starbucks is strictly off limits to students and parents.
Julia looks him up and down. She thinks for a moment.
You're new here. What's your daughter's name?
Why?
Julia grabs him and shakes him like a rag doll.
Tell me her name!
Alexandra!
Julia walks back to her car and peels out, leaving Gregory looking vexed. Interior, Gregory's car later that day. Gregory sits anxiously in the pickup line as children of various ages run out of school and climb into their parents' cars. Gregory talks on a cell phone.
Heather, these soccer moms are scary.
I'll be home in a few days.
I'm not sure I can handle this myself.
It's just a few days.
You have no idea how mean.
He looks out his window to see Alexandra accompanied by her teacher. Alexandra's face looks beet red and she's crying hysterically. The teacher opens the car door.
I'll call you back.
Gregory closes his cell phone as Alexandra gets in his car.
What happened?
She had a rough day.
Why? What's the matter?
The teacher leans in and whispers.
They're watching.
Who?
Gregory looks around and sees several women whispering and staring. He then sees Julia give him the "I've got my eye on you" sign. The teacher backs up.
Bye, sweetie. See you tomorrow.
Wait, what exactly?
The teacher scoots off like a cat in the rain. Alexandra climbs in, sobbing uncontrollably.
Alexandra, what happened?
The other kids want to play with me.
Why not?
I don't know.
Julia stares at him for a moment, then walks away. Gregory drives off looking shaken and joyless. Interior, Gregory's car minutes later. Gregory appears to be trying to collect himself as they drive through town. He looks in the rearview mirror at Alexandra, still sobbing.
Let's go to the park.
I'm too sad to play.
Oh, come on. We'll have some fun.
Interior, Gregory's car day. Gregory and Alexandra start to pull into the park entrance, but see Julia suddenly standing right in the middle of the road, adjacent to the Welcome to Pecan Park sign.
Oh my God.
Gregory slams on his brakes, stopping inches from Julia. She doesn't flinch. She walks over angrily to Gregory's window. Gregory rolls his window down.
Your daughter can't play here today.
Why not?
Julia points to Gregory.
We take drop-off line disruptions very seriously.
Julia eyes him and crosses her arms.
You want to fix this problem? Go to Kathy's Coffee House at 9 tomorrow.
But
Or you'll wish you would have put your kid in public school.
Fear flashes across Gregory's face.
Don't be late.
Gregory looks at her strangely,
I...
over her shoulder.
Don't park in line.
Gregory looks at Alexandra.
Come on, Alexandra. We'll find another park to play in.
Gregory looks perplexed as he drives away. Interior, Kathy's Coffee House the next day. Julia sits with Savannah Parker, Margaret Browning, and Joan Dunbar in a large booth in the corner. Margaret is an intimidating but attractive 6-foot brunette. Joan looks like a hot bookkeeper with glasses and a gray suit. Savannah looks sexy in her tight blouse, heels, and a Versace skirt.
So why this guy?
He's a nobody. If this plan goes south, who are people going to believe? Him or us?
Gregory walks in the door.
There he is.
They all turn and stare at him. Gregory approaches them cautiously.
He's cute.
Please.
Gregory walks up to them.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me.
You're 5 minutes late.
My watch says it's...
You're late. Sit.
Gregory gives her a puzzled look, then sits down.
Who exactly are you?
Just some concerned parents who need your assistance.
Do us this favor, and maybe things will get better for your daughter at school.
Julia points to 5 women sitting at a booth on the opposite wall.
You see those 5 skanks over there?
They all look over at Gregory menacingly.
Yeah?
That's the majority vote on our school board.
We're in the minority.
Gregory looks at the exit longingly. Savannah smiles at him and winks.
But that's gonna change.
Gregory sits anxiously while Savannah looks at him and plays with her hair.
Take this. In it is the name, address, and picture of your target.
Julia slides a manila envelope across the table. He looks at it and smiles.
You guys really had me going. I'm gonna get an espresso. You want anything?
Gregory starts to get up. Julia nods to Margaret, who slaps Gregory hard across the face. Gregory looks shocked and sits down, rubbing his cheek.
You need to start taking this seriously, Gregory.
Julia looks up and sees a barista bringing a refill of coffee. She smiles and refills everyone's coffee.
Thank you so much.
Is everything okay here?
Yes, thanks.
Just let me know if you need anything.
Julia looks at her, smiling broadly.
We will.
Julia watches the barista walk off.
Nosy bitch.
Julia's expression changes from chirpy sweet to dark and evil.
All those birthday parties, all those play dates. Too bad she'll never be invited.
We can be lots of fun, if you give us a chance.
Or we can be your worst enemies.
Since the school year started, there's no way your daughter can get into another private school.
They're all full.
And public school. Well, let's just say those high test scores won't do her much good there.
Her whole future depends on what you do right now.
Gregory sits silently for a few seconds. He sighs.
What do you want me to do?
Julia points to the envelope.
Get her off the board. I don't care how. She'll be replaced by me, and then we'll take over.
Or else we'll make little Alexandra's life a living hell.
But she's only 5 years old.
A perfect age to learn how the world works.
Savannah puts her hand on Gregory's knee. Gregory gulps.
You got till tomorrow to think it over.
Julia shoos him away with her hand as if he were a bug.
Now leave us. We have important matters to discuss.
Gregory gets up and walks hastily towards the exit. Interior, Gregory's house day. Gregory sits looking stressed out as he talks on his cell phone, voiceover.
Let me get this straight. Evil soccer moms want you to knock some lady off the school board?
Yeah!
And they're going to terrorize Alexandra unless you do.
Exactly.
You'd tell me if you were having some type of nervous breakdown, right?
I'm not having a nervous breakdown. This is all real.
I swear I can't leave town for a few days without you falling apart.
Oh, please, you've got to take the next flight out.
I can't drop everything and leave. Look, I've got to get back to the conference.
But Alexandra is scared to go to school tomorrow. If you could just...
You have a PhD in English literature. You will figure out what to do. I gotta go. I love you.
The phone clicks and Gregory slowly closes the phone.
What would Lady Macbeth do?
Gregory thinks for several moments. Interior, Kathy's coffee house day. Gregory walks in and sits down with Julia and her gang.
What's the word, tough guy?
I'm in.
Julia looks at her gang. Savannah puts her hand on his shoulder and smiles.
Things will get better for your little daughter once you finish.
Understood.
Gregory gets up and walks out. They watch him leave.
You think he'll really do it?
Either way, we're gonna run this town and his daughter out of school.
Exterior, Kathy's coffee house parking lot, continuous. Gregory runs back to his car and opens the door. He pulls out a Starbucks drink carrier with Starbucks coffee cups placed in it. He sneaks over to Julia's car and puts it on the hood. He runs to his car and takes out an enormous camera. Exterior, Kathy's coffee house parking lot day. Julia, Margaret, Savannah, and Joan walk over to Julia's car. Gregory holds his camera and crouches behind a nearby car. Julia picks up the Starbucks drink carrier and looks at it strangely. Gregory starts clicking away.
What's this?
Gregory walks up, taking pictures as he approaches them.
Aha!
Julia and her gang look puzzled.
I can't imagine what the folks at school will say about you coffee house traders.
This isn't what it looks like.
Julia looks at him coldly.
Wait a minute. You did this.
Gregory looks at them smugly.
You know, it would be a shame for these pictures to wind up on Facebook.
You wouldn't dare.
I bet your barista will cut off the free refills when she sees these.
Gregory looks at them. They look fearful and helpless, like mice caught in a trap. Several seconds of silence ensue.
I'll keep these pictures safe for now.
Thank God.
But I'm afraid you'll have to give up your quest to join the school board.
Not in a million.
Gregory starts to walk off.
Then let me put this on the internet.
Wait! Gregory stops and turns. Julia looks at him in silence for several seconds.
Is that all?
My daughter gets invited to every play date and birthday party.
All right.
And I'll need my own parking spot.
Gregory looks at her menacingly.
In the drop-off line.
You're not human.
That way I can take as much time as I want.
That's impossible. We can't.
Gregory holds up his hand, cutting her off. He smiles and walks off confidently over his shoulder.
Adios, ladies.
Interior, Heather's car, day. Heather Allen sits in the driver's seat and Gregory sits in the passenger seat eating a homemade cookie. He looks out the window and sees kids pour out of school. Alexandra happily skips over to Heather's car and hops in.
How was school?
Awesome, I had a great day.
Joan and Savannah walk over to Heather's window. Joan's holding an enormous fruit basket.
This is for you, Mrs. Allen.
Oh, thank you.
Heather takes it, looking confused. Julia and Margaret walk up to Gregory's side.
How's that cookie, Mr. Allen?
Needs more chocolate chips.
Gregory looks at Julia and Margaret.
Don't ever try to short me on chocolate chips again.
Sorry, sir.
It won't happen next time.
Gregory waves his hand at them as if shooing away a bug.
Now leave us. My wife and I have important matters to discuss.
Gregory rolls up his window, leaving the Momphia speechless.
What is going on? I thought you were in some crisis.
I made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
Gregory laughs as Heather drives off. Fade out.
The prologue begins.
Exterior sidewalk, cellar door, night.
Jamie, a 30-something, sits by herself in a business casual clothing on a bench outside the upscale cellar door restaurant. It's late. There isn't much happening on the streets. Cameron, a late 20, early 30-something, also dressed in business casual, approaches Jamie.
Jamie?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
She stands to greet him and extends his hand to meet hers.
Nice to finally meet you in person. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm a little behind.
Oh, you're fine. You're right on time, actually. I'm early.
Still, you shouldn't have had to wait for me.
Really, it's fine. Just trying to make a good impression.
Have you been inside yet?
Cameron and Jamie step up to the front podium. A manager stands directly behind it, overlooking a seating chart.
Hi, how many tonight?
2, please.
There's a bit of a wait for the dining hall, but we can set you up in the bar area until a table is ready if you'd like.
The bar sounds great, actually. I don't think we're gonna eat, unless you want to grab a bite.
No, bar sounds great.
The bar sounds great.
A young hostess, Adrian, approaches. The manager hands her 2 menus.
Excellent. Just follow Adrienne here and she'll show you to your table.
Interior cellar door bar next.
Adrian pulls down 2 menus as Cameron and Jamie sit down on opposite sides of a small but wooden bar table.
Here's our menu, and there you'll find our drafts, wines, bottles, and cocktails. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we'll have a server with you in just a moment.
Thank you so much.
Exit, Adrian.
God, I can't believe this place is so packed right now.
Unfortunate, had we wanted something to eat. It's the only good place open this time of night.
It's not unfortunate for them. I mean, they're cleaning up. I guess I didn't realize there was a market for people who won't settle for IHOP when it comes to late night meals.
Learn something new every day. Speaking of the time, I'm surprised I was able to get you here at such an hour. And for a job interview, no less. I really appreciate it.
Well, sadly, this is about the only time I'm ever free with work and everything.
Really? I didn't know there were banks that stayed open until 10 o'clock at night.
There aren't. On top of being a teller, I'm also a struggling actress. And balancing both really doesn't allow for much spare time.
I'm sure struggling is just an exaggeration.
I wish.
Enter Nick, a peppy, overconfident server in his early 20s.
Hey, sorry about the wait, guys. My name's Nick, and I'll be serving you.
Not a problem.
Have you had a chance to look at our menu? Any of our specialty lagers or mixed drinks catch your eye?
Cameron gives a you first gesture to Jamie.
I don't know, they all...
No. Not your problem tonight. Please order whatever you'd like.
Well, I can't let you pay for...
Listen! I have you meet me here at 10:30 at night, make you wait out in the freezing cold.
It's July.
But it is unusually frigid for this time of year.
I guess so.
Cameron smiles.
Hey, all right, look out for this guy. He's a jungle cat. So, what'll it be?
All right, can I have a glass of Merlot, please?
Actually, make that a bottle of Merlot.
You got it, bottle of Merlot and 2 glasses. Any cocktails or beers to go along with that?
A bit thrown off, yet polite.
No thanks. I think the wine will be just fine.
Nick takes their menus.
Fair enough. I'll have that right out for you.
Exit, Nick.
A full bottle, huh? This is still a job interview, right?
Hey, when was the last time you got to drink wine during a job interview?
This will be the first, which was kind of my point.
Well, you see, interviews were always stressful for me, and I always feel like I'm on the tip of an employer's nose rather than the other side of their desk, even as an adult. So, when I became the one asking the questions, I decided I never wanted my potential employees to feel like they were being interrogated. That's why we're sharing a bottle of wine at the cellar door rather than sitting behind a desk in my office.
Interesting. Well then, perhaps we should get on with the interview.
Of course. I actually have a confession to make.
Oh yeah? What's that?
I knew you were an actress.
Really?
Yes. That's also how I know you aren't struggling. I watched you in The Matchmaker last fall and thought you were quite impressive.
Well, I guess that depends on your definition of struggling.
Enter Nick with Merlot.
All right, guys, I present to you a 2008 bottle of our finest Henschke Cabernet Merlot.
Nick begins pouring them each a glass.
Perfect, thank you. You might not be making...
Now, are you familiar with the Henschke?
Not particularly, but I wouldn't exactly call myself a wine connoisseur. I'm sure it's quite good.
Oh, it's not good. It's the best. Straight from the Australian Adelaide Hills, it's 60% Merlot and 40% Cab Sauv, fruity and peppery taste. It's awesome. Would you like to smell the cork?
No, thanks, I'm fine. Like I said, I'm sure we'll both enjoy it. So you may not be making a living, but you are...
Sir, you're gonna want to smell this cork.
Extremely talented.
Cameron stares at Nick. For a moment, almost bewildered, he takes the cork, smells it.
Very good, thank you, Nick.
J-May smiles at Nick.
All right, enjoy. And let me tell you, if you change your mind about those cocktails, pouring wine isn't the only thing they taught me in bartending school. I know, right? Top of my class. Seriously, I can make anything you want. Doesn't even have to be on the menu.
Okay. Thanks.
Nick smiles, exits.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, what you said about my acting. But you aren't a director or anything, are you? I feel like I would recognize you if you were. Which still has me questioning what this is about.
You're right about that. I'm not a director. But the job I'm here to offer you does require that you do a little acting.
Huh. Well, you definitely have my attention.
All right.
Angle on Cameron as he picks up his glass and takes a drink of wine. We hear J-May's voice, but it's coming from another time or place.
So, let me get this straight.
Cut 2.
Interior cellar door bar. A glass of wine and a half. Later.
2 shot. Jamie and Cameron sit at the same table, profile to us. Cameron is on the defensive, fighting a war of attrition as J-May questions him.
You trick girls into adultery for money?
Well, no, they never actually cheat. We don't accept offers from married men anyway.
Right. I really wish I could say the arbitrary technicalities were the only issues I had with what you're doing.
Listen! It's not as bad as you think.
Beat. J-May says no thing.
Okay. Here, imagine you're a man.
Oh, boy.
Sure, imagine you're a boy, and you're in a relationship that you aren't really into anymore, but you don't know how to get out of it. What would you do?
I would break up with them and get over my confrontation issues while I'm at it.
Yes, you and 90% of the population would do exactly that, which means 10% of the people out there are more than happy to utilize the service we're providing. They need it.
And cheating is never involved.
Never.
And why is that? That would at least give your clients a legitimate reason to want to,
Cheating isn't necessary for this kind of thing. It's never been our desire to ruin someone's reputation. Make cheaters out of honest people? We just set the stage, dog.
The stage being a bar or a restaurant or any place that two people that are seeing each other might go.
Any place the average person might not want their girlfriend going with another guy. Prearranged, of course, so our client knows where to find us. Then it's up to him to make it believable from there.
Right. I remember that now. I guess I'm just having trouble believing that this actually works. Or maybe it's that people are actually capable of doing this to one another that has me a little surprised.
Enter Nick.
Hey, sorry to break up the combo, chatty Cathy's. Just wanted to see how those drinks were doing.
Still fine, thanks, Nick.
Actually, how are your martinis?
Fantastic. I can shake them or stir them any way you want, even throw some extra olives in there too.
I'll take one of those. Shaken's fine.
Choice. I'll have that right out. And for you, sir, one of our specialty wheats, fresh off the tap, with a fresh orange slice, perhaps?
I'm gonna have to pass, Nick.
Suit yourself.
Exit Nick.
So, you obviously aren't stupid. So you know that I have no interest in your little games, but I am curious as to how I could possibly fit into all of this.
Long beat.
Well, as you can probably imagine, men don't make up the entire 10% I mentioned.
Actually, I can't, but go on.
Well, believe it or not, there is a female demand, and we unfortunately can't service those potential clients because we don't have any female workers.
Am I the first woman that's been interviewed for this?
I was hoping the third time would be the charm.
Exit Nick with J. May's martini. Or enter.
Here you go, ma'am. 1 martini, extra olives. Shaken, not stirred. Right, Sean Connery? This guy knows. Yeah.
J. May takes it and sets it off to the side.
We'll give it a try. It's very good. I shook it myself.
Right. Bartending school.
Best in my class.
I remember. I'm sure it's very good. Thank you, Nick.
Exit. Nick exits again.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Cameron, but I have no interest in helping you.
J. May begins collecting herself. Cameron glances at his watch, then the front entrance, then back at his watch, then back at the front entrance again.
Now come on! Jamie, wait! Please. I feel like we've got a big misunderstanding.
Is that right?
We're not bad people, please. 5 more minutes.
You have 2 minutes, and my cab should be here any second.
All right, 2 minutes. Cool, that's all I need.
Not that it'll make a difference, but go on.
Sure, it may not be the best way to go about any relationship, but the fact of the matter is, it's the only way for some people. There are people who need our help. We are helping people.
You're not helping. You're destroying relationships, people's lives. What don't you get about that?
We're not destroying lives.
How much do you know about these people, your clients, about their relationships? I mean, how much do you find out before you go on these setups? You don't know how it affects these people?
I know it'll end their relationship. That's an outcome at least 50% of them want. You're identifying with the person who you perceive as the victim. But how delicate are you when you break someone's heart?
I have no desire to shepherd the weak, Cameron. I apologize if I wasted your time tonight, but you certainly wasted mine.
Your boyfriend, does he live in a glass house too?
A voice chimes in off camera. J. May? Angle on, J. May's boyfriend, Loren, erring on the side of absurdity. Now, what the heck going on with this?
Oh, Lauren, what are you doing here? I told you I was going to be late. I was going to take a cab.
And I thought I'd come anyways. Something funny about a job interview at night, I thought. Good thing I did. Doesn't look like any job interview I done never seen.
What makes you think I would lie to you?
But, that bottle of wine you're sharing?
What?
No desk. Doesn't need to go on. J. May shifts her gaze to Cameron. Cameron is miles away, looking in another direction. He catches her stare.
You have got to be kidding me.
Well, don't worry about me, though. I already got my stuff and everything. I got a pretty sweet place over at that Chad's place, you know what I mean? Long, awkward beat. It never gets easier for Cameron to watch what his clients call acting. Anyways, Chad's idling up on that handicap spot, so I'm gonna be going out now. Exit Loren. Even longer, more awkwarder, even more of a beat. J. May collects her things, stands up.
If it makes you feel any better, you're definitely a better actor than that guy.
Great.
Exit J. May. Enter Nick. He sits in J. May's seat and pulls an olive out of her martini and pops it into his mouth.
Ooh, tough luck, buddy. That was a close one, huh?
You're an asshole!
What's the matter, sir? Didn't enjoy your wine?
You're lucky I didn't shove that cork straight down your throat.
I told you, obtuse waiter is way more annoying than a competent waiter.
Congratulations, I owe you $20.
Keep it. You can use it to buy me a drink later.
What time do you get off?
Like, now?
Let's get out of here. I'm sure Kelly's already got a tab going.
All right.
The end.
The 12 Days by Reed Arnold. Fade in. Exterior, George's house establishing. Superimposed December 14. Interior, George's living room day. A man, George, sits in a comfy armchair reading. Next to him, a fire crackles where 2 stockings are hung. A Christmas tree sits in the corner of the room. It's the happiest season of all. The doorbell rings. George looks up from his book, perplexed. He moves to and opens a door. He jolts. On his front stoop is a potted pear tree. A partridge chirps in it. He looks left and right and sees a note tied to a branch and looks. From your true love. He smiles and carries the tree and bird inside. Chirp. Interior, George's living room the next day. Superimposed December 15. George sits in the same armchair reading his book. The pear tree sits near his chair, bird on branch. The doorbell rings again. It's a very similar scenario as he moves to open the door. It's a pole from which suspends a bird cage holding 2 turtle doves. He carries it inside. Interior, George's living room night. George sits reading. The fire crackles, quiet, peaceful. After a moment, a turtle dove coos, breaking the tranquility. George eyes the bird, annoyed, and returns to his book. A beat, another coo, another look. Interior, George's living room day. Superimposed December 16. George reading. The piece interrupted occasionally by coos. The doorbell. George inhales and rises, slightly irritated. Opens door. On the front stoop strut 3 French hens, clucking. George cocks his head. Interior, George's living room night. George has constructed a pen, floored with hay and fenced with chicken wire, and puts the clucking hens in. As he stands up and leaves, a dove coos from the cage. He glares at it. Interior, George's living room day. Superimposed December 17. An empty room. The hens are not in their home. George runs in, hunched over with a newspaper, herding the hens back into their pen.
No, out to the kitchen.
The doorbell rings. George looks up, anxious, opens the door. There is a box on the stoop. He picks it up and carries it to the table. He tears the tape and very slowly reaches to lift the flap. As soon as he touches the corner, a flurry. 4 calling birds fly out. George ducks. The birds fly around the room, screeching as they go. George sits still, uncertain what to do. George's bedroom interior, night. George lays awake, eyes wide open. The squawks from his living room echo into his bedroom. Interior, George's living room day. Superimposed December 18. George sits at his living room table, a package already unwrapped. On the table are 5 huge, gaudy, golden rings. He picks one up to inspect it.
She thinks I'm Elizabeth Taylor.
A calling bird flies onto the table. A hen clucks by his feet. George shakes the bird off his hand. Interior, George's living room day. Superimposed December 19. George paces the living room in his PJs, eyes bloodshot and hair unkempt, talking on the telephone. Along with the previous gifts are 6 geese.
No, I love the gifts, honey. It's just...
He steps on an egg that a goose hath laid.
Damn it! Listen, I thought with the rings I wouldn't see any more birds, but then today there are these ducks. Excuse me? Geese. There are these geese, and they're laying eggs, and there's bird gunk everywhere. No, honey, it's very sweet. I just thought after the rings there wouldn't be any more poultry. Just please, no more birds. What do you mean you've already put in the order for tomorrow?
Hard cut. Exterior, George's house day. Superimposed December 20. George screams from within. Interior, George's living room continuous. Birds everywhere. Joining their hens are 7 swans. Feathers and gunk is everywhere. The mantle, the floor, hens cluck. Turtle doves coo. Calling birds call, and the swans. Interior, George's bathroom day. Superimposed December 21. 3 swans float in a full tub. One in the toilet. The others waddle around. Interior, George's living room continuous. George is on the phone once more.
Honey, no. That's right. I didn't want any other birds, but this...
Reveal 2 cows in the living room, surrounded by 8 maids. Birds still everywhere.
No more animals.
He hangs up in such a manner that he'd slam the phone if you slammed cell phones. Awkward pause. A cow?
Would you like some milk?
George glares at her. From the bathroom, a swan. Interior, George's kitchen, morning. Superimposed, December 22. 6 maids bustle in the kitchen. One reaches under a sitting goose and retrieves an egg, cracks it, and fries it. Interior, George's living room, continuous. It's a zoo, or more accurate, an aviary with some cows. 2 maids are milking a cow. It's noisy, it's hectic, it's George's hell. George shuffles in, frothing in anger, wearing a bathrobe. He hasn't slept.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Someone muzzle these damn animals! Jesus! I haven't slept in nights! I can't shower. Swan feathers have clogged my toilet. There are these geese in my chair. Those birds won't stop screeching. Keith Richards wouldn't wear these rings. The hens jailbreak their pens like they're training for Alcatraz. And what the hell are you all still doing here?
Awkward silence. The maids look at him, pouting. Doorbell.
Wonderful! What catastrophe has she sent me now?
He opens the door. Immediately, music from Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker plays. 9 ballerinas flutter through the door with a graceful leap. Starts a ballet routine. George looks aghast. A maid comes from the kitchen and taps his shoulder. He looks at her. She extends him a glass of milk. In disgust, he slaps it out of her hand, spilling it all over a dancer who squeals and trembles like a little child. Stiff hands vibrating in front of her face. Interior, George's kitchen, morning. Superimposed, December 23. Maids are cooking again. Ballerinas are floating around everywhere, getting dressed. Shouts of,
Where's my tutu? Anyone see my tie?
That one's from one specific ballerina.
It still smells like milk.
One has to wrestle her shoe away from a goose. Birds, feathers, mess everywhere. George enters.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, we have to get ready to dance for you today.
And we are supposed to make you breakfast and get you fresh milk until Christmas.
I don't want you to make me breakfast. I don't want you to dance. I want you all to leave.
But you're
Please.
too low.
Gives awful presents.
Ballerina 1 starts crying. Maid 1 comforts her.
Oh, now is that really necessary? All we're doing is trying to give you a great Christmas.
During this speech, Maid 1 grabs a passing goose and, cradling it in her arms, pulls an egg from somewhere underneath, just as she says Christmas.
Christmas.
I don't even want to know how you got that.
The Lords are here.
What?
Interior, George's living room continuous. Ballerina 2 opens the door. 10 lords bound through the door and leap around the room as the ballerinas join and dance. Lord 10, the last to come in, is a fat gentleman without much grace.
Oh, come on!
He exits. Interior, George's hallway continuous. The cacophony can't be escaped. George opens the door to his bathroom and enters, leaving only an empty hallway for a moment. Swan. George reappears carrying the swan, whom he puts on the floor and shoos down the hall. Interior, George's bedroom night. The lords are sleeping haphazardly on George's floor. Reveal his bed, which he shares with the large Lord Ted, who sleeps, breathing heavily, hogging most of the space, and laying an arm across George's chest. George stares at the ceiling. To Lord Ted.
I just don't see why you couldn't be one of the dancers.
Lord 10 starts to snore powerfully. George rolls his eyes. Interior, George's bedroom day. Superimposed, December 24. His clock shows 6:30. George lays asleep, unknowingly spooning with Lord 10. Reveal that 11 pipers have let themselves in and are surrounding the bed. These pipers unfortunately wield bagpipes. They look at each other, nod, and play. George wakes in and wails and falls out of bed. The lords awaken the sergeant instinctively starts leaping. George runs out of the room. Interior, George's living room continuous. Same chaos as before. George runs in, manic. The pipers and lords follow him into the room. And a dancing, leaping, bagpipe-playing show begins. While birds waddle and fly around and maids watch smiling broadly. George curls up against a wall and weeps. Interior, George George's living room day, superimposed Christmas Day. George sits in his chair, clutching an armrest, eyes red and wide with bags under them. He sits motionless as birds, lords, cows, maids, pipers, and dancers move around the room in disharmony. A calling bird settles on his shoulder, jarring noises, utter chaos. Doorbell. George sits. Doorbell. George sits. The door opens. In come 12 drummers banging on their snare drums. The pipers start a melody, and the ladies put into a dance. The lords leap and zoom on George's face. His mind snaps. He stands and screams. An orchestral version of the 12 Days of Christmas starts. In the following sequence, italicized lyrics indicate a place in the song, and the action follows is what will happen during those musical segments. Hard cuts between each act of violence.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming.
In rhythm to the tune, George hits 2 on the head with their drumstick and impales a snare on the head of its owner on the last beat.
11 pipers piping.
George whacks a few with their pipes.
10 lords a leaping.
And pushes some over mid-leap. They crash into walls, comically.
9 ladies dancing.
George pulls the rug out from under them. They topple.
8 maids a milking.
George hits 1 with a frying pan, cartoon-like, and brands the cattle. Interior George's bathroom continuous.
7 swans a swimming.
George enters and tosses a toaster in the bathtub where the swans are. An electric surge. Interior George's living room continuous.
6 geese a laying.
On the 8th note, we see each goose get pelted with their own eggs.
5 golden rings.
George wields a hammer and hits a ring with each syllable, and then the last in the silent downbeat.
4 calling birds.
George dives through the air to grab one out of the air.
3 French hens.
George has a pistol and fires 3 times on each beat of the music.
2 turtle doves.
George holds 1 in each hand and violently claps them together. Music stops. Disarray. Birds lay on the ground. Egg splatters on the wall. Dancers, maids, lords, drummers, and pipers sprawled on the ground, one with a drum on his head. Furniture overturned. The tree knocked over. It's a Christmas Carol massacre. Silence. George drops the lifeless doves. He's looking at something on the ground and slowly walks to it. He bends over and picks it up. It is a framed picture of he and his true love in a warm embrace, touching foreheads and smiling into each other's eyes.
All I wanted is you.
Tender moment as he smiles at the picture, surrounded by chaos. A partridge hoots, breaking the silence. George's eyes snap from the photo. His smile retracts. The mania has returned. Exterior George's house continuous. Slowed down and dramatic finish of the carol.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
As the song ends, the potted pear tree smashes through the front window and lands in the yard. Fade out.
Okay. I'm Reed Arnold. I am from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, so I was born and raised here. And I just graduated from the University of Virginia, so I'm back home.
Very nice.
I am from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Anyone? Have you written any other plays? Films? Have you written any?
I've written a few short screenplays, and I made one of them into a short film last semester. And I've started a feature length and wrote a pilot for a television show for a screenplay contest.
I don't have any features finished, but I have several that I'm working on, and I've written a few shorts, but nothing. This is the first one I've ever put in a competition or anything.
Yeah.
Yes, question over here.
Brian, did you write that for somebody to direct, or are you going to direct?
No, I didn't. I actually co-wrote it with my brother, who couldn't be here today. But it was actually an idea for a feature just about 2 guys who had a kind of business like that. And when I took the idea to my brother, I didn't want to just tell him the idea, so I wrote like a 5-page opening scene. And so when we heard about this, I was like, I think we could take that opening scene and make it like stretch it out and kind of make it into a standalone short. And so it hasn't really gone anywhere other than that. So I guess the answer is no. Your question.
Anyone else have a question?
Where's your ideas come from?
I wrote my script over Christmas time, and it was on the radio, and I thought about it and realized that those would be the worst presents to receive, especially if they never left. So that's where that germination came from.
Mine came from just thinking about like relationships and love stories in movies, and like I just thought that a nice catalyst for a relationship would be if two people met in that situation, in like the setup situation, and the person doing the setup fell in love with the person he was setting up, and that's where the idea came from.
What are your aspirations from here on? Are you guys going to stick around Oklahoma, or are you going to New York, LA? Or?
I just graduated college, so I'm figuring that out. I'm interning with a film producer in LA this summer. See where it goes from there.
For me, I'm sticking around for now. I'm a camera assistant on shorts and stuff, and I've just been kind of doing that on the side here and then writing as well. But for now, I'm going to be here for a little bit.
I think we have time for another question. Anyone? Yes.
Did each of you guys write based on is that the genre you want to work in? Is that the genre you want to work in relationship films, or you want to work in comedies?
The first draft that I did was significantly less comical, and it was more of a serious, kind of dark thing. And then my brother was just like, this is not funny at all. I thought this was going to be funny. And so then that's when we really started working on it, trying to make it more like lighthearted and stuff. But I am drawn towards relationship stuff. I try to write a variety now, since I'm kind of a young writer, just trying to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah, I have not written enough to establish a niche, I would say. Of the screenplays I've written, I think this is actually the only comedy. There's a science fiction and a World War II historical drama, but I think this is the only comedy that I've written, so it's not, I haven't given a lot of thought to what I want to focus on. I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to writing.
We have time for one more question, if anyone else has a question. Anyone? Yes.
Did you enjoy seeing your screenplays read?
I did very much. I was, when I found out that there was a public reading, I was wondering how they would pull it off, because so much of that screenplay depends on clever editing and timing and rhythm. It's a very visual comedy, so I was wondering how an acting troupe was going to read it and get that through. So I thought it was pretty clever what they did.
I agree. I thought mine might be easier, since it takes place in one spot, and then I'll thank Vinny for all of the music and stuff. I don't know, that wasn't planned, so thanks Vinny for that. But yeah, no, I'm pleased with it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.